We are totally dependent on the Lord to meet the constant demands of the ministry.
Amen.
We are totally dependent. I would tell the deacons here tonight, in the nicest way that I know how, you don't have what it takes to meet all the needs and the demands of this ministry.
Amen.
Neither do I, neither do my pastoral staff. You see, the disciples thought it was their responsibility to meet the needs and the demands of ministry. But in reality, they were being reminded that the Lord is the only one who can meet the demands of ministry, and we are to be constantly pointing people to Him.
Right.
They were worried. They were stressed out about how the need was going to be met. After all, Jesus says, give ye them to eat. You do it. Meet the need. They're all hungry. Let's feed them. But John chapter 6 verse 6 says, for He Himself knew what He would do. The whole time Jesus knew how to meet the need. Here the disciples were fretting and wringing their hands and wondering how in the world we're going to feed 5,000 people. This is impossible. There's not enough money to do it. We've only got 5 barley loaves, 2 fishes. That's not enough to meet the needs. And they're fretting and worrying. And the whole time the Bible says Jesus knew what He was going to do. Isn't that the way it is? God always knows how to meet the needs. What did Jesus do? Let me break it down for you. He took the boys' lunch. He takes what we have. He looked up into heaven. He blessed it. He broke it. And then He placed it in the disciples' hands to go and feed the hungry crowd. Can I repeat that? Because that's really what we are called to do here in ministry. He took the boys' lunch. He looked up into heaven. He blessed it. He broke it, and then He placed it in the disciples' hands to go feed the hungry crowd. We give to the Lord what we have, and then He turns around and gives back to us more than what we gave Him. Dr. Warren Wiersbe points out, and I quote, the multiplication took place in His hands. The distribution was the work of the disciples' hands. Do you understand the difference? Jesus is the one who multiplied the 5 loaves and 2 fishes. All the disciples did was what? They distributed what Jesus gave them. You see, we are simply conduits. We are channels in which the Lord meets the needs of the ministry. In and of ourselves, we don't have the resources, but always remember, He has the resources. The Lord has what we need to get the ministry accomplished. One thing is for sure, when the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 was over, not one disciple could say, did you see what I did? Right? You don't see that in the story. Not one time do you see the disciples saying, look what we did. No. They all had to say, did you see what Jesus did?